Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. So this is an example of what our online lessons look like. So an online lesson is a 25 to 30-minute session with a learner, and we go through a few slides. It's on the web browser, so you log into the website and you access it from there. So here you can see we have the Arabic alphabet. I have my little pointer. Okay, so here we just draw the learner's attention to the alphabet and how many letters it has. And then we ask everybody to go over to slide number 2. Okay, on slide number 2, we have 7 letters. We have alif, ba, ta, tha, jim, ha, and kha. So then we go through the letters and we try to point out and raise the awareness of how the letters differ. So if you notice here, we have ba, ta, and tha. So what's the difference between these 3 letters? As you can see, all of them look exactly the same, like a little boat. But what's the difference? The ba has 1 dot underneath, the ta has 2 dots on top, and the tha has 3 dots on top. Okay, and then we'll repeat the letters a few more times, and then we'll go to jim, ha, and kha. And again, as you can see, the jim, the ha, and the kha look exactly the same, but the difference again is the dots. Okay, so the jim got hungry, so it ate the dots. So now the dot is in the jim's belly. So sometimes we use these small analogies, or small stories about the letters, just to help people memorize them remember them a little bit better. So we have jim, ha. Ha has no dots, so we can laugh at ha and say ha ha. Okay, ha, and then kha. Okay, jim, ha, and kha. So we go through the letters like this and try to raise the awareness and make sure the learners can say the letters, and then we'll go through them and make sure that they know all of the letters. Over here on slide number 3, we have an activity which says put the letters in order. So here what we do is we ask the users to put the letters into order, and whilst they're putting them into order, we ask them to say the letter. So we have a lot of repetition, but we just vary the way the repetition is done. So it's not the traditional way of just alif, ba, ta, just keep kind of memorize, repeat. We try to have the repetition in the lessons, but vary the activities which we use. So here, for example, we'd ask the user to put the letters in order, but also say the letters as they are putting them in order. So we have alif, ba, ta, tha, jim, ha, and kha. Okay, excellent. So there I would get a tick. And if it's a child, they might also like a nice little star. But sometimes then what I will do is I'll put them back out of order, and I might ask the user to then put them in order, but starting with the last letter first. So now they have to do it in reverse order. So it'll be kha, ha, jim. Let's do it quickly. Kha, kha, ha, jim, tha, ta, ba, and alif. Excellent. So I can have another tick. Okay, so again we go through the letters, the learners kind of practice them, they repeat them again, and then before we move on to the next slide, I'll ask them to repeat each letter again, so we have another round of repetition there. Okay, so over the page we have another activity which says say the letter your teacher chooses. So on this page I would use the highlighter pen and point to a letter, and I'd ask the students to say the letter that I'm pointing at. Another activity you can do is that I ask the students to use the pointer tool, and I say a letter so that they can point to the letter as well. So again, we have an activity, it keeps the learners engaged, and it keeps them more involved, and they can't really hide behind another student. It is one-to-one and it is personalized. Okay, on slide number 5, we have some writing practice. So here we ask the learners to write the letters. Now, this isn't always easy with a mouse, but the important thing is that you follow the principles of writing in Arabic, which are usually that we write from the right to the left, and we start at the top and go down to the bottom. So here we have a dot to dot, 1 to 2, and then 3, 4, 5. Okay, so it shows you exactly how to write the letters. By doing this, there's a couple of benefits. Firstly, it allows the students to create a stronger connection in their mind, so it helps them remember the letters. And another benefit is that once you finish the course, if you wish to move on to learn the Arabic language, it puts you in the perfect position to do that. So again, as we're going through, we'd ask the learners to repeat the letters. So we'd say, what letter is this? Alif. Okay, so Alif, this is how we write it. And then the learners also have a practice. Children in particular tend to like this activity because it gets them more involved and more engaged, which is obviously a primary focus of our course. Okay, over here we have slide number 6, which is the final slide for the stage 1A. And here we just have some reading practice. So we have the first 7 letters written over and over again in a different order. And the learners have to identify it and say the letter. If we get them right, they would get a tick in the box. Now this is stage 1A. So the way it works is we start with stage 1A, and a learner could do this in 1 lesson, or they could do it in 2 or 3 lessons. It all depends on the learner and how well they kind of pick up the letters, and also how much they practice outside of the lesson. We have an online system where you can practice everything we've just seen here online as well. So if the learners practice there 2 or 3 times a week, they should fly through and know the letters perfectly, which would allow them to be ready to move on to stage 1B in the next session, where we look through the next set of letters. So this is a quick overview of how the online lessons work. Obviously, we have the online system as well. So that's how the ArabicClassroom.com course works.